Thanks, John. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just what I was saying related to exactly what you were saying um, about, like when you feel that lack of motivation. So on Friday, I was in the field on the meeting, um, and was going to knock doors and try to get a deal before my appointment at noon, which was a follow up. And they weren't home at noon. I knocked for a couple hours and they weren't home at noon. And then so I just kept knocking, and I knocked for like 5 hours and didn't get any deals. And that doesn't happen to me. You know what I mean? So I was sitting, doing what you're doing, not going back to my car, just sat on a curb and just took a little break and like try to get myself pumped back up and kept going. And, 5 hours knocking without a deal was really discouraging. And people were, not always being as pleasant as they could be with me and stuff. And then the next thing you know, the rest of the day, all of a sudden I set my personal record of 7 deals in a day. So it was just that like testament to myself and that lesson to myself of when I feel discouraged to just keep going. So it was like, second half of the day, I got more than I ever had in a day before. And a lot of those was, I decided to take, a break at one point, but I was like afraid because I know how I can be. I was afraid that I was going to get stuck in my car. And so what I did on my break was I opened my phone. I was in a town that I didn't even plan to be in to follow up with this person who wasn't home. And so I just pulled up the map and I saw every lead in the town that I had ever created with a phone number. And I texted every single person. And I had already texted all these people and emailed these people and stuff before, but I just texted everybody, hey, it's that solar guy with the goofy smile. I'm in town today. And that worked. Like a bunch of people texted me back, and I went to a couple follow-ups and they didn't pass credit check. It's very annoying. And then next thing you know, and then I ended up getting one, and then I got one over the phone with someone who I had, followed up with from a different town where I planned to be that day. And so, okay, I got a couple. All right. But it's starting to get later in the day and, you're out all day. So there's this guy that I kept texting and calling and showing up, and he was never around what he said he would be. And he wasn't calling me when he said he wasn't answering his phone. So I just knocked on his door, and he was home and invited me in, apologized to me, and then thanked me for being persistent, for following up with him persistently. So that's another thing. I feel like I'm bothering people when I'm following up with them, but people sometimes thank me for being that way. Thank me for being persistent. Thank you. And then he referred his neighbor, which was someone that I'd followed up with, but they were busy. And while I'm there, someone called me that I'd been trying to call regularly. Oh, hey, I'm home. So I went over there, came back and got the neighbor. While I'm at the neighbor's, another guy's calling me, hey, my wife said it's okay, you should come over and get us signed up. And it's like late at night at that point. So I'm just bouncing back and forth, following up with these people. I end up being out until like 10:30, which I never knock past 8, but these people are calling me and inviting me to their house, And then the one guy at a second property was messaging me the bill. And then late at night, like 12:50 in the morning, he's signing a contract, which is like rare. But the point was just like, I continuously followed up with these people. And then when they give me a referral, I jump on that referral right away. And what was helpful too is having those people call while I'm in the house with them. Hey, there's a solar guy here. He's here right now. He can come over. That was really helpful too. Better than just like, oh, hey, your friend sent me here. It's like, no, they've already talked to their friend. And then another thing too, the one reason that one of the guys, the reason that he called me back was because I told him, I'm not coming back to town. There's limited space available on this field, and I'm here to close the project today. And he wouldn't have hit me back that night if I didn't tell him like, I'm not coming back or whatever. So the point of that too is just using that sense of urgency with people, when you're at the door, like there's limited space available. I'm here to close the project. That's what I do.
Fear of loss.
And so that was helpful too. And then working, I went and tried another job. And so it was like fixing wet basements and foundation repair. And they fed you leads. it's a great company and great guys, and they do a good job, and they train me really well. But at the end of the day, it's a dry summer. So no, you can't build that sense of urgency in someone that calls you over to take a look at something and see what you say about it, and tell them, well, you got to spend $10,000 to fix your basement. And they go, well, it's dry right now, so I'll deal with that later. And then the building costs of wood and stuff too. People didn't want to take their drywall down and fix their walls. So there's just no sense of urgency. So, and then we just run out of leads because it's dry. So then I'm sitting there doing nothing, and I come back and start knocking doors, and I go out for a few hours and get a couple deals. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why I love this job, is because you can just go out there and create your own leads, get your own deals right there. And it doesn't matter what I've knocked in the rain, I've knocked in the snow, I've knocked when it was -12 and dark outside at 6 p.m. with hand warming gloves on, and people invite me into their houses. It doesn't matter what the weather's doing. You can still get deals. And so relying on other people for leads, and hoping that they have a bad enough problem that they even need me there. With this, it's like simple. Hey, how's it going? You want to save money? Okay, cool. We tried to tell you about it. You didn't answer. So that's why I'm out here. Well, I'll think about it. Well, there's limited space available. I'm actually, I've even been telling people too, when I show up, it's because the project's almost closed. That's the only reason I'm here. We tried to send you guys stuff.